What's up, Pikes Peak RC race news around the nation? It is Robbie here to give you guys the latest and greatest news for here, near, far, and abroad. What's up, everybody? Hey, we got some stuff coming up. And speaking of what's coming up, we got New Year's coming up, and we're going to end off the year here at Dialed RC on, I want to say, New Year's Eve or New Year's. We are going to be raffling off the wheel tire sets. All right, that's 48 pairs of wheels and tires that are being raffled off. $20 a ticket. I want to say there's probably less than 15 tickets left, but go ahead, go on to Dialed RC on the Facebook page or Dialed Hobbies. Go ahead, check them out as well. It's the same thing, all in conjunction with each other, and go ahead and sign up for that raffle. All right, so 48 pairs of buggies, wheels, and tires. You get a sample of all 12 tread patterns, and you'll have a mixture of soft, super soft, and soft long wear. Right, and you'll get your choice of wheels, so you can go spoked or you can go dished, and you can choose your colors from yellow, white, or black on the wheels. Okay, and then again, all that stuff will be included with that set, and it's an $1,800 value with 48 pairs of dialed RC wheels and tires. All right, foam's included as well. So go ahead, check that out. $20 a ticket. Go ahead, hit up Gene Hickerson before he leaves out to Silver State here shortly, and yeah, get you all signed up for that raffle coming up in a couple days. All right, so I'm actually anxious to see who wins that, because that's a lot of wheels and tires to be won. All right, but coming up, just like I said, New Year's, going to end it off with Dialed RC, but starting off, we'll have Matt Kyle over there with Faster Laps. He'll do his third segment of race, club racing with Mini Z, since he is taking a break off of 8 scale because of the weather. Yeah, great turnout on the last one, over 42 plus drivers. Yeah, it was great. It was great. Unfortunately, I was all the way on the other side of the world in a totally different time zone in the future. And yeah, but I did get to see the podiums. I did get to watch a couple videos here and there, and it was actually pretty cool. Congrats to everybody on that. But the next race, January 8th, and another race I'm going to miss because I got to leave out on another work trip. We'll get to that here shortly. But yeah, again, missing out these races. Also, was going to go to Silver State with Gene, owner of Dialed RC, as I had just mentioned. I was going to go out there to kick off my year of racing, 8 scale, and unfortunately, again, I got to go on this work trip. So work is my main priority, and then when I do get time, I get to do what I can with the racing and stuff like that. But it does not stop me from racing in other areas. So again, me being in Guam, like I said in previous videos, there's no racing out there. There is a lot of RC crawling. There was some drifting out there, but mainly it's all trail and rock crawling out there for the island of Guam. But I am going out to Hawaii, and Hawaii does have a brand new 8 scale track. It used to be over there in Eva Beach off the dirt oval track, the drag race track. There used to be an 8 scale track over there. I want to say they moved it closer towards the airport in Aiea area. So yeah, I'll go ahead and check that out. David Backer, sponsored by Kyosho, turned me on to that. So I will be testing while I'm out there. Hopefully there might be some races. I don't know. We'll see. But I'll be testing the tires out there. I'll be testing the V7s for the buggy, the V1s, the V2s, and V8s for their track condition out there, being hot, humid, and stuff like that. And that'll give me a chance, because the weather is close to how the East Coast works on its nice hot summer days. It's like that year round in Hawaii. It does get cold every once in a while, but give me a chance to play with new diff fluids, new diff options, new shock piston options, so on and so forth. So I'll be playing a lot with that, going back and forth, what works for me, what makes the vehicle handle a little bit better, how far can I push it with the settings that I do. So again, a lot of that will come with the guidance from Justin, and a lot of my peers and stuff like that. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm super excited. But my main thing today is the product spotlight. And I'm going to go into these TKR, these TKR 1115 multi-tool pliers. Yeah, they're actually called the Pivot Ball Shock Multi-Tool all aluminum pliers. All right. And I found these being used all the way out in Guam. Those guys don't race out there, but they found that this tool over any other pliers, this is the best stuff that they've had already. And they said they had theirs for years and it still looks brand new. So again, and they use those things a lot. But I like it. It has the 17 millimeter on there, the 12 millimeter, 3.0 and 4.0 for your shock shafts. And then you got your ball link in and your ball link out. And you got a little replacement thing there that you can unscrew and adjust and stuff like that. So it's actually pretty cool. Very, very comfortable as compared to them off brand shock pliers. I should call them. All right. Yeah, this one I've used this one and it's all marred up. The aluminum is a little bit too soft for my liking, to where you know, you can feel it squeeze and flex under that pressure and stuff. And I want to say this is a softer aluminum than this. Um, It'd be like incomparable with 6061 to whatever the heavier one is. I want to say it's 70 some. I forgot what it was, but yeah, this right here is very, very soft. So again, perfect tool for doing your shocks, your shock shafts. And again, please use the proper tool um, when doing your shocks and stuff. I've seen pliers being used. I've seen crescent wrenches. And the last thing you want to do is mar up and scratch up your shock bodies and scratch and mar up your shock shafts. And that's where these came into where I couldn't use them anymore because they're so marred up. I was like, yeah, it's already, I don't want it scratching up my shock shafts. And now a lot of these shock shafts are either coming chrome, they're they're nitride plated and stuff like that. So again, you got to take care of your stuff. So what better way to use the TKR 1115 pivot ball and shock multi-tool. So go ahead, use them. Don't use pliers. Don't use these steel pliers and stuff like that. Use these where needed, but don't use these to grab that shock shaft so you can screw on your end link and stuff like that. Don't do that. Use the proper tool. Again, Techno TKR 1115, that pivot ball shock multi-tool plier set. Check it out. All right. All right, everybody. Again, I am about to go on another trip. Again, I wanted to go out to Silver State. I wanted to do some more Mini Z 128 scale racing. And yeah, oh my goodness. I'm missing a lot already. And I'm ready to where I want to go out and race. So that's why I'm bringing my buggy with me to Hawaii. Again, I'm going to do a part 2 video on traveling with your RC stuff. All right. I'm going to do part 2 because a lot of things have changed within TSA and I travel a lot and I bring my RCs everywhere I go, depending on what I Google about that location and stuff like that. So in this case, me going to Guam, obviously there was no Mini Z racing there, but me staying in the hotel, I brought my Mini Z stuff with me, my 128 reflexes with me, so I can get them tuned up, cleaned up, brushed down, and make sure they were operational. And I did that. And then to keep myself more busy, I went ahead and got another crawler that I didn't need. So again, it kept me busy. But this crawler is probably one of the most advanced crawlers that I've ever dealt with. So yeah, I'm super stoked with it. Got some stuff to finish up on it, and that's pretty much about it. I'll get more guidance from Bert over there at Chronix Hobby. So if you guys do find yourself over in Guam and you guys are itching about the hobby and stuff like that, please go see Bert Manasala over there at Chronix Hobby. Him and his crew, I'll tell you what, man, some of the most funniest people to be around with. And I felt right at home hanging out with them on a daily basis after work over there, and it was great. It was great. It was just catching up, speaking on how they do stuff, how the RC community is there, and stuff like that. And I right before I left, that somebody was trying to build a track So we'll see how that goes if I ever find myself going back over there. So we'll see what happens. All right. But yesterday we had a live video, and yesterday I got a message, and I wasn't happy with the message, but I had to be straightforward with this person, because this person, they pointed out, they're like, oh, I see who you choose. You should have uh, you chose them. They haven't been racing that long. I've been racing longer. Da 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 da. If you don't choose me, I'll just go get a sponsor from Texas, and they'll sign me on or two or whatever. And I'm just like, dude, it's not about who's racing long. This is not some big dingling competition. It's not any of that. It's about um, me looking for ambassadors. I am looking for the future of the sport, the RC sport itself, and I look into that. Hence, why I chose the Chambers family. All right, they drive as a unit, they work as a unit, they go together as a unit, and they do a lot of 8 scale stuff to include their short course. And I enjoy racing 128 with them. They're very competitive. They're always about the hobby and stuff. Now, granted, we didn't see them over at the Pikes Peak RC Arena, but I get it. We weren't racing short course over there and stuff, and we stopped racing Mini Z over there. So I can see where the disconnect was from there. So, but reconnecting with them, they still made it out to faster laps, and then they made it out to racing 128 scale on that first time seeing them. So it was great, and I like how they work together as a family and race together as a family, and they're very competitive. I raced against Michael, I've raced against Ashley, and I raced against Michael Jr. All right. So in all 3 different types of genres, I've raced with them, and they are fun to be around. They're pretty cool, and I like helping out people like that or families like that. So again, it reminds me of how my family are. We are a unit when we're racing together, and I understand that. Boy, I'll tell you what, supporting my 2 drivers, my 2 young drivers, to include myself, it does get costly. So anything I can do to help them out with the sponsorship, giving them great deals, I will do. All right. So congrats to the Chambers family. Again, Michael Sr., Ashley, Michael Jr., and little Matthew. All right. So congrats to you guys. Welcome to the family of Dialed RC. All right. And if you guys are interested and you guys are looking for a sponsorship and you guys want to be that brand ambassador and you got an awesome, great personality, hit me up. Hit me up. I will definitely take you guys into consideration, and looking forward to talking to you guys. All right. If you guys don't already know, I am a team manager for this region. I am still learning. I reach out to the other team manager that I coincide with Chad, and then also Gene as well, being the head guy. So again, I seek always advice from them and stuff like that. So it's actually pretty cool. And I talked to Chad the other day. So I'm glad I reached out to him and he reached out to me, and then we I got to where I need to be. So thank you again, Chad. All right. But it does not stop me from getting help from everywhere else. Again, there's a lot of people I want to thank. Uh, me getting to where I'm at right now, doing what I'm doing right now, a lot of it goes to Corey Bosworth and Brent, followed by Justin Simonson, Joe Mandola, Rafi over there on the East Coast, Rob P, all them, James Hart, James Thomas, golly, here, John Carpenter, a lot of influencers like Scrappy, um, the Chambers, golly, just Matt Kyle, just a lot of people. Big Rich, who's been trying to get me racing with 8 scale for the longest time. And I'm sorry, Big Rich, I took so long to do this, but I tell you what, the first day I got to race with Big Rich, he was super stoked for me, and I was super happy. That was the first time I met Tell, and I'll tell you what, I was like, oh yeah, this is where it's at. When they say 8 scale, and then they talk about Nitro is glory, they're not joking. They are not joking. I got to see it firsthand. I never really watched a full blown Nitro race until I got to Sumter, and I tell you what, it was just like, and I can just imagine how the big races are where Nitro, as they say, is glory. So I'll experience that when I get to go to TNR here, and especially I get up to LRC. Uh, there with Graham Hill, collaborate with him, talk to him because he is my team manager for Techno. So, yes, team manager for Dialed RC, but he's my team manager for Techno. And again, that's another thing with your sponsors. Make sure when you go with your sponsors and stuff, make sure you read the fine print. All right, because a lot of them got expectations, what to do, what not to do, and you don't want to get that conflict of interest. All right, and that goes even with my work. There's some companies that I can't deal with, or we can't work and coincide with each other because of conflict of interest. So again, be careful who you choose for sponsorships or who you get for sponsorships, that it does not create a conflict of interest. Okay, so again, you do have to abide by their rules being sponsored. So a lot of expectations, a lot of things, and everyone is different per contract. All right, so make sure you guys look into that fine print and read it thoroughly. So I had to read all of mine and make sure that I coincide and none of them are conflicting with each other. Okay, so yeah. And then if you got any questions, it's not hard to contact them at all. I've talked to Chris, I've talked to Gene. Make sure nothing becomes conflict of interest of what I do or what I'm doing on top of what I'm sponsored by. Because Chris, obviously, he does make 1/8 scale and 10 scale bodies like what we got here, but he does not manufacture short course truck bodies. So again, there's exceptions to the rule, and it's always good to double check with them to make sure. All right. So just like Dialed RC, he doesn't manufacture 10 scale wheels, let alone short course truck wheels and tires. So again, that leaves a exception to the rule. But when you're racing with that 8 scale via the truggy or buggy, you still gotta, again, be that brand ambassador. All right. So again, always look into that small print. There are a lot of people that are sponsored here in Colorado. Um, whether they be with 128 scale, whether they be with 110 scale or 8 scale, there's a lot of them here sponsored. And I've talked to all of them. What did they do? How did they do that? What did it help them? um, uh, in their push going forward into the RC community and stuff like that. So now there's a lot of questions that I asked and stuff like that, and and I did my research and stuff before I did what I did. So again, I think it's pretty cool. I'm honored to drive for Techno, I'm honored to drive for Dialed, to include Leadfinger Racing and Pro One Designs. And those are my sponsors. Now I did um, look up one more sponsor, and I sent a resume to. They asked me to send a resume to them, and I haven't heard anything from them. And that's a thing. It's going to happen. Sometimes you're not what they're looking for. Sometimes they may be overfilled, or they got too many drivers. They filled their quota already. So there's always next year. And there's always next year, and there's other opportunities as well too. So don't get discouraged if you don't get sponsored by somebody that you reach out to. Again, it is always a hit or miss. I was not expecting Techno one bit. That was probably the biggest thing. When I got the message on that, I was racing Mini Z that one night, and sitting right next to me was Big Rich, and I talked to John about it, and I was super, super stoked about it. And then they told me, like, Robbie, sponsored by them, you can't do this. And I was like, oh. So again, you got to read the small print. And then again, being sponsored, you got to abide by the rules of the racetrack as well too. So all these big racetracks, they do have their rules per se of how and what classes to enter and stuff, being sponsored, so on and so forth. So again, those are the perks, the pros and cons of being sponsored here and there. So again, just look at it, look at the small print, so on and so forth. All right. So again, I wonder with the whole traveling thing. Now I gotta reach out to Bert, because Bert sells some stuff that's not even allowed here in the U.S. anymore, and they are putting a big ban on that. And what I'm talking about is the DJI is like a brand that is no longer allowed here in the U.S. with certain products, and I'm just like, wow, that is crazy, because they were the biggest influencers of drone technology as far as for the consumer and stuff like that, starting off with their Phantom 1 to the Phantom 4, then the DJI Mavic, and then they had their other big one that was actually pretty cool, which was used in movies and stuff like that. And I was just like, wow, Now there's a big, big thing. But if you guys have not noticed, I see the reason to it because of drone warfare. So again, there's got to be a pull, and I see where our government's going with that. So yes, always got to abide by the rules. You know how that goes. Does put a big dent in the industry of drones and stuff like that. For those guys that do drone racing and stuff like that, I got this one from Kurt, and yeah, this one's an older model, but boy, I tell you what, she zips. She is a zipper. So again, I don't know where it's going to go now. I'm hearing batteries is another issue as well too. So we were talking about that yesterday, and motors. I see the batteries. I see the batteries where they're going. There are a lot of batteries out there that are, once you get them, you charge them, they start poofing or they catch on fire. So far, me being around that, and I want to say it's probably around the hard case factor too. So I think a lot of the batteries are now wanting, or they're requiring them to be a hard case instead of a soft pack, because the cells are getting stronger, they are getting faster. Battery technology keeps on growing and growing. I remember it started off as NIM, um, NiCad batteries and stuff, and now we're up at LiPo, we're up at LIHV, LiPo high voltage, LiFi batteries, so on and so forth. So it's just, there's a lot going on, and the technology keeps on growing with that. So we'll see. We'll see. Now, with the technology growing with batteries, it does make it that much more dangerous. So again, battery safety, battery safety, battery safety. Hence why I always use my LiPo bags when I travel. And again, that will be on part 2 for um, Pikes Peak RC Race News. Will be part 2 because, again, like I said, a lot of things have changed with TSA in traveling with the RC stuff. What to do, what not to do, how to do, when to do. And not to mention, I've been seeing a lot, especially in the group chats, especially on all the pages. A lot of people are coming up with their RC stuff missing. I'm talking whole complete bags, and there's already people out there that know what to look for, and they know what bags to look for. And that goes with other industries as well too. I played airsoft and paintball, and they use almost the same style gear bags, whether it be HK Army, so people know what to look for. And OGO bags being the number one for RC car stuff, not to mention dirt bike equipment as well too. People look at that, and it creates that sticky finger, that five finger kind of persona, that thief in mind. So again, I will go over that in part 2 of the Pikes Peak Race News around the nation. But other than that, you guys, that is pretty much what I have going on. I'll be leaving here shortly in about a week or two on another work trip. Again, I will be testing out all my dialed RC tires over at the new track. It is conditioned almost just like how the East Coast is, but more loamy with sand. So we'll see how that goes, and we'll see what tires work. So that way I can give the feedback to Gene. That way we can expand it farther out to the Pacific region and stuff like that, i.e., all the way over in the Philippines, Malaysia, so on and so forth. So we'll try to get it worldwide right now. So we'll see how that goes. And I respect Gene a lot for the simple fact he is one of those manufacturer owners that actually get out there and race as well too. And I know there's a bunch out there, but he's that one that gets out there and races, and he's proven. He's a proven driver. So he did place over there at the Fall Brawl. So again, congrats on that. But yes, Pikes Peak RC Arena race news. That is all what I got for this evening. Again, don't forget to check out that TKR 1115. For those that got money for Christmas and y'all need some new tools, that TKR 1115. All right. I talked about the droop gauge set. Go ahead, check that out as well too from Techno. Awesome set to use. There's a lot of things from Techno that will be coming out here shortly. Obviously, right now, getting apparel is going to be kind of hard right now. They are limited on what they have left. So it looks like they are already starting to replenish for next year. I want to say there's still some hats. No more beanies, no more gator necks. All the t-shirts are all sold out. You won't see that on the page. So right now they're replenishing or probably coming up with new designs for 2026. So stay tuned. I will let you guys know what goes on with Techno. All right. As far as Dollar RC, Hey, 12 different styles of wheels and tires for buggy. Currently 2 for the truggy. Maybe one more. We'll see. We don't know yet, but we will see. Go ahead, check them out at Dialed RC. Also, Leadfinger Racing, check them out. Owned and operated by Chris Schaefer. He's got them awesome bodies for 1/8 scale buggy and truggy, and over the shock tower truggy as well, aka the trucks. And then we got the 10 scale buggy for 4-wheel drive and 2-wheel drive. Selected manufacturers on this, giving that old school persona look back in the early 90s. So go ahead, check them out over there at Leadfinger Racing. Josh over there at Pro One Design, all the way in California, is always creating new products, 3D printing tool caddies and stuff like that. He is coming out with some innovative ideas for S-Works and Mugen, developing shock towers and the end leak adjustments over here. I hear he is in works of doing some stuff for Techno, creating products for that as well too. Hopefully he builds those super short shock towers that I've seen out there with other brands, but we'll see what Josh does over at Pro One Designs. Go ahead, check him out as well. All right, I am Robbie with the Pikes Peak RC race news around the nation. We'll see you guys when I get back. But next video, like I said, part 2, traveling with your RC stuff.